If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello everybody, welcome to episode 20, and today I have the wonderful Tara. We had a chat yesterday about all things manifestation and how to work towards your goals and achieve your goals. It was so much fun. My face was hurting afterwards. I love the idea that most of the time, if you want to achieve something, it is just your mindset that's 80% of the issue. I've had a lovely weekend away just gone. I went to Forest Holidays. I don't know if any of you have been. It's so nice. It was, waking up in the trees, but not up a tree, It was like, I was camping in a forest. No, I wasn't camping. I was in a cabin in a forest. I don't know if you guessed that from the fact it's called Forest Holidays. Forest Holidays do not sponsor this podcast, but if you did want to, that would be really fun. And it was just so wonderful to just switch off. And I literally switched my phone off for 48 hours. And it did me the world of good. And I had loads and loads of ideas. And one of those ideas this weekend, it was in the pipeline. It's not like I've just thought it up and put it into action, but I'm launching a membership for small business CEOs. Anybody can join really, because there's going to be still quite a lot of content that you can apply to your career. I'm so excited about it. I keep waking up with like the best Christmas. I tell you what it feels like when I got married. I'm just so excited. I'm just beyond excited because I'm going to be able to help more people with their businesses. And on Friday, I'm going to it's Thursday today if you're listening to this today, isn't it? So it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to launch it. So yeah, I'm so excited. So I'm going to do a live on Instagram at 9:30 tomorrow morning and tell everybody about it. And yeah, it's going to start on the 1st of March. Just going to start telling everyone about it on Friday. Can you tell I'm really excited? I just really want to tell you all about it now. It is going to be cool though. There's going to be training and group coaching and opportunities for workshops, and there's going to be community, there's going to be support. I'm going to be in the Facebook group all the time. There's going to be Zooms, there's going to be loads of stuff. I keep forgetting I've got a massive list. I've got it all planned out, but I just want to bring as much value to people as possible. The first month when you sign up for the 1st of March, it's going to be £23, and that £23 you're going to pay forever. You're never going to, as long as you're obviously with the membership. So it's £23 a month until you cancel. And then after that, it's going to be £32 a month. So more details to come. And next week is a solo episode because it's Vivid Wire's 3rd birthday next week. So I'm celebrating, because if you don't celebrate these milestones, who will? Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to let you listen to this amazing episode. Remember to share with your friends, tell everyone about this podcast, write a review if you can, send me a DM to tell me how you feel about it. I've had some wonderful messages from people about the fact that they're enjoying the podcast. So honestly, those messages really keep me going, because I really enjoy doing this, but but sometimes, and I do, like my best mates who listen to this, I love that they listen to it, but it would be really cool if other people enjoy it as much as they do. They text me. So if you enjoy it, please send me a message. I appreciate it so much, honestly. I really, really do. Right. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you're listening to this, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hello, Tara. Hello, welcome.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, Claire. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Lovely to have you on. For those people who don't know who you are, what's your name? Where'd you come from? What do you do? The old Cilla Black style.
Well, I am Tara Best. I'm founder and director of Tara Punter Coaching and Tara Punter PR. I live in the Cotswolds on a farm with my husband, and I'm a woman on a real mission to help more women change their life, no matter where they're at, no matter what their pathway is, no matter what they desire. I just want to help people change their life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. How did you get into this?
Oh, God, it's a long story. So,
we love a long story on this podcast. Go for it.
Around January, Feb time, 2015, I was a manager in hospitality, mega unhappy, literally hated my job. I drive home, I did about a 20-minute drive home every day, driving a battered up old Golf, just crying, be like, oh, when can I have wine? Like just counting down the seconds and minutes until I could just get home, take all my horrible work clothes off and just drink a bottle of wine because I was like, I fucking hate my job.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, there must be more, there must be more, there must be more. And I remember my sister saying to me, well, why don't you just set up a business? I was like, it's not that easy. I mean, she had her own business or still has her own business. I was like, it's not that easy. I don't know what to do. There was no light bulb moment or, that aha, oh my God, this is my calling. I had none of that. So I kept going to work. And then it's around June 2015, I had this lovely gentleman come into the venue where I was working. And he said, oh, I'm going to be having lots of business meetings. Is it all right if I have them in here? I was like, absolutely. I'm very friendly / nosy. Like just love speaking to people. And I said to him, oh, what's the new business you're setting up? And he said, it's an equestrian lifestyle website. And I was like, oh, I've been a horsey girl my entire life. I did an equine business degree like many years ago. And I literally just said to him, if ever you need anyone to write a blog, just let me know. Like it was the most throwaway comment I've ever made in my entire life. And at the same time, my employers tried to change my contract. And they said that I had to start at 6 a.m. every single day. I had to work every single weekend. I had to finish an hour later, and it was for no more money. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no.
That's terrible. I said, oh my God.
I'm not sure it's even legal.
No.
But, no. And I said, well, what if I don't want to sign this contract? And they said, you can leave. And I was like, this is my chance. I had £200 in my bank account. I didn't have a penny of savings. I had rent, bills, council tax, car insurance, all the things. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I worked a 3-day handover. There were some of my favourite customers, and I said, I'm leaving. And they were like, why? I said, because I fucking hate this job. And I just said, no, I'm leaving. And the guy that I had offered to write a blog for, I went back to him and said, I'm now unemployed. So if you really want me to write a blog, I'll write a blog for you. And he said, yes. And it was the quickest turnaround I've ever known in my life. I wrote this blog for him. I wrote it on retraining racehorses. So when racehorses finish racing, they go on to have like a second home or a second career. And I wrote it on that because it was something I love. And gave it back to him, and he loved it. And literally, I'd say within 5 days, I was at one of the world's biggest events, sporting events, as a journalist. I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm very much a say yes and figure it out later. And from there, I went from being a journalist into social media manager, started doing a bit more PR, a little bit more sort of full marketing strategy. 2016 set up my first company and seemed to be getting really good results on Twitter, good old Twitter back in the day. And I happened to share in, I don't know, one of these Twitter networking hours that I just got like so many amazing clients through Twitter. It wasn't bragging. It was just like, oh my gosh, just celebrating this. Here's my glass of fizz, celebrating this. And this guy reached out and he said, I've really stuck, like I'm banging my head against the wall with social media. I don't know what I'm doing. I just can't sell any products. Would you mind just sharing what you did? And again, say yes, figure it out later. I said yes. And I charged him £70. I drove from my house to Bristol, which is about 45 minutes. And I did an in-person coaching session with him. And his reach on Facebook went from 300 to 30,000 in a day.
No.
Oh my God. I said, and I was like, this is my calling. This is my thing. And yeah, that was 2017. And I'm obsessed with coaching. I love it so much, more and more every single day. And I just cannot get enough of it.
Wow. You're like, oh my God, you're so inspirational. Like, yeah, I'm going to chuck this job in, 200 quid in the bank. Like, you must have been terrified, but also more terrified of being stuck where you were.
Yeah. I think when I had just been so unhappy, and I felt bad for it was then boyfriend, now husband. Felt bad for him because I was just a grouchy bitch. Like, it was just miserable, and I was working ridiculous hours. And I just thought there must be more. Like, there must be so much more. And it was terrifying. But I'm very much, if you don't ask, you don't get, and literally say yes and figure it out later. And I genuinely got to the point that I just had to make it work. There was no going back. I didn't know what I could do job wise. I'd applied for jobs like as a secretary. I was looking into doing a master's degree. I wanted to be an estate agent. I applied for so many jobs around 2014, 2015, and just kept getting no's. Like the secretary job, they said you'll be bored. The estate agent job, I didn't have the right degree. I applied to be a nutritionist. No, didn't have the right degree. I just kept getting no, no, no. And I just had to make this new business work. I had no idea what I was doing, mind, not a clue. I had to make it work.
Yeah, but nobody does really, do they? It is that sort of like the fear and excitement of just going, I'm going to go for it because there's something inside me that is pushing me forward. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to go for it anyway.
Yeah. And, I made so many mistakes in the early days and maybe got a little bit guilty of just chasing money rather than actually doing a really good job for people. Didn't look after clients maybe as well as I do now or as well as I could have done. But, each mistake that I made was a massive learning. You cannot have the successes without the failures. And each time I did something really, really wrong, it's like, right, there's a serious learning from this, serious learning. And that's continued that kind of evolution around everything, I feel.
Oh, amazing. So you're currently coaching, and what's sort of like the structure, or what's like the framework that you're coaching people around? Why do they come to you?
So I'm sort of a business and mindset coach, and I literally love like blending the spirituality and the strategy. So like mindset and marketing, it's like the blend of the two. Because for so long, I just tried to show up more on social media, or I wanted to put my prices up, but I thought, oh God, who am I to do that? And as soon as I started doing mindset work, which fell into completely by accident, everything started to shift, and I started to have different goals, and it just started to kind of grow a little bit more, I think. So yeah, it's very much the blend of the mindset and the marketing, and I've got a trademark approved goals methodology as well.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. So what's your goals method then?
So I have been setting and smashing goals consistently for years and years and years. And last year I was like, right, what are the steps? People kept saying to me, what am I doing to keep hitting these goals? And I just kept surprising myself with things I could manifest. Like, sat in a farmhouse that I completely manifested. I've manifested a fast car, the Maldives, even my husband. It's like, right, what are the things that I do each time? And I realized that it was kind of a blend of who you're being and then the action that you're taking. But it has to start with who you're being. So it's a 5-step method. Step 1 is going for the goal. So it's getting really clear on what it is that you want. It's getting really specific on it. It's then starting to think about, how would this make me feel if I already had it? Step 2 is owning the goal. And that's looking at those limiting beliefs, those little thoughts that come up that are going to say, who are you to have that? Really, who are you to have that? You're just this person. Step 3 is about acting the goal. And that's literally feeling the feelings. It's journaling on it. It's starting to think about how that would feel. It's maybe connecting to a vision board. It's writing it out. It's starting to embody the feelings. And then step 4 is where we start taking action. So step 4 is called Live It. And that's all about looking at how you can bring that into your reality. What are the action steps? What's like the masculine energy side that we need to do? And then step 5 is about smashing the goal. So if it's a money goal, if it's a business goal, what do you need to do to smash that? Is it doing a launch? Is it showing up on social? Is it getting better at sales calls? What is that piece? And it's different for every single person, every single business. But those 5 steps in that order have worked for just so many things, for both myself and clients.
I don't know about you, but there's certain things that I've done and I know how I got there, but I didn't really have it in a methodical way. And then when I've looked back, like you're saying, you've got that formula, but people say, well, how did you do it? And you're like, well, I just really believed I could. But actually what you've done is you've broken it down to, setting the goal, knowing what it is, owning it. And actually that is what belief is when you break it down, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And it's such an important piece. And I think so many people will think of a goal and they'll go straight to action. Whereas, so often they can be a little bit out of alignment with that, and they'll be going for the goal, thinking they're doing the right action pieces, when there's this little feeling in their body that's saying, I can't do this. Who am I to do this? A little bit of imposter syndrome or lack of confidence. So it's so important that we connect to mind and body before we even think about showing up on social media. Think about the thoughts you have about the goal. Are the thoughts saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I don't believe I can do this? Is the feeling lack or anxiety or worry? Because you cannot manifest a positive result out of those negative thoughts and feelings. You just can't.
When you were talking earlier about the 200 quid in your bank, I was like, you are the kind of guest that you would listen to on a podcast thinking, no, she's fibbing, but you're not. You're actually not. This is real life, that you've used these kinds of tools to create to design your life in a way that makes you feel amazing. And this is like, obviously this podcast is all about embracing fear and doing it anyway, but the fact that you can look at something, having fear and looking forward and thinking, I'm so excited, but I'm scared. What could, and it's what that absolute quote, what if I fall, but what if you fly? And that also the fear of staying where you are. And I think that you have to to really like catapult yourself sometimes, you have to be more scared of staying where you are than the unknown in that respect. And you just are the shining example of why you should embrace fear like that. Because it doesn't seem true, but it is.
I promise you,
on
my heart.
No, I know.
I couldn't lie to tell my life, to be really honest. I just get myself caught out. But no, I promise you, I was at that level of being so unhappy. I just thought there is no other way right now. Yeah. And I'm just going to go meet people, speak to people, show up, get myself out there. Yeah, I was freaking terrified. But I was able to believe in myself that little bit more than the fear was ruling, because we need fear. Fear's great.
Yeah.
But it's less great when it rules the show. So, I always say to my clients, if they've got a bit of fear, I'm like, great, embrace it. Like, that's an amazing thing, because it proves you give a crap. But what about if we can just have like 51 or 52% belief and 48% fear? That's fine. We can hold that. Because if you can hold both, you are going to succeed. But it's when that fear outrises the belief that it's going to just cripple you.
Yeah, don't you have a great acronym? Is it an acronym for the fear?
Yes, so I stole this one from Jen Gottlieb. So she's got a media company in New York, and her thing is face everything and rise. And I love that.
Yeah,
I think it's absolute gold. We are going to have fear. We're going to have failures. We're going to have really trying times. But if we can just keep rising and keep showing up, not every day has to be amazing. Not every day has to go super well. But if we can just keep showing up, keep finding the positives, keep rising, we're going to keep progressing. I found an interesting statistic earlier that I think if you live to 78, which is like a random, average age in America, I think it was, you live for 41 million minutes.
Wow.
If something goes wrong in our day and it lasts a minute, so many people let that ruin their whole day. And it's like, so you have a really shitty 1 minute out of 41 million or more minutes, and you let that ruin a day. You let that hold you back. You let that make you not launch the thing or do whatever you desire. It's just like, we just need to feel those feelings. You've got to be able to hold like good emotion and bad emotion. That's when that growth happens.
But there's exactly, and it's the growth of feeling uncomfortable. And I read something as well this morning about when something does go wrong, have a little bit of time to shout and scream or cry or whatever you want to do, and then once all that emotion's passed, like embrace the emotion, feel uncomfortable for those like couple of minutes, and then just say, can't change it. Like, there's nothing. Why are you going to hold on to that feeling of letting your day be ruined when you could go on and just turn it all around? And it's what you're just saying about showing up all the time. It is, again, there was this thing that I read about how all you have to do is just keep going, like that resilience of turning up, having tenacity to just say, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep turning up, even if I have a bad day, even if I don't meet my targets or my goals, because you just have to have faith that the bigger picture is going to be better. It's all just trust the process, isn't it?
Yeah, I think grit and resilience are so underrated
Oh yeah,
because
massively.
you are going to have tough times. I set up my business and thought everything was going hunky dory. I was like, oh, I'm so great at this business malarkey. In April 2017, I lost two clients on one day. I was owed thousands of pounds. I had, again, there's a theme here before I did
Mm.
money mindset work. Again, I had like no money in my bank account. I didn't have savings. And I was like, oh shit. And that led to stress induced IBS. That led to me
Mm.
having to ask my then fiance to bail me out with the rent. And again, it was just like, oh, we're back here. But I just had to keep going and keep showing up and deciding that I was going to get through this, that this was going to be a crunch point, and it is such a crunch point, and that I was going to get through it. But I think so many people let one small thing in the grand scheme of life knock them, or
Mm.
one negative comment on social media make them not show up and put their treasures out to the world. I was listening to a podcast by Ant Middleton the other day, who I adore,
Oh
and he
wow.
said that emotional intelligence is being able to like hold the really good emotions of like love and gratitude and joy, and being able to hold like the negative emotions. If you can't hold one, you can't have the other. I thought, oh,
Mm.
that was beautiful. I think it's just reassessing how you take things and not letting one silly comment or one minor error or one bad day like impact how the rest of the week or month's going to go. It's an
Mm.
isolated event or incident and nothing more.
I always use the analogy. I don't like Brussels sprouts, but there's a Brussels sprouts in my roast dinner. It's not going to ruin my dinner. Just move on. You know what I mean? But that's what
I love
I
that.
used to like dwell, and then now it's just not. But it's coming back to your like we were talking about mindset. Um, how important do you think mindset is to just life in a big scheme of it, or how you work with people on it?
It's a non-negotiable, to be honest. If clients won't do mindset, I won't work with them.
Oh,
And I was
really?
the one,
Wow.
yeah, it's that integral because I was the one that when I signed up to work with a coach in October 2018, I thought it would be all like marketing, funnels, strategy, all those sorts of things. And the basis of it was mindset. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing mindset work, Bossy girl, Cotswolds, we don't do mindset work. And she literally forced me into it. And it was like 6 months in that I started to see a little bit of a shift. And it's just changed everything. Like it's changed the way I deal with situations personally. It's changed the way I am with money. It's made my relationship with my husband like even better. And it was amazing before. It's changed everything. But I think the biggest thing that's changed is the inner dialogue that's going on all day long, every single day.
Mm.
So we have on average about 70,000 thoughts a day, about 90% of which are negative and repetitive. Before doing mindset work, I was very positive, I was very bubbly, I was very upbeat, I was very confident, but I would have this thing in the back of my mind like, what will so and so think if I put this post online? Well, I can't possibly put my prices up because, I'm not good enough, I haven't been in business long enough. Well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if I launch and then nobody signs up? Whereas I don't have any of those thoughts now because I'm able to take control of them.
Mm.
So one of the greatest things about working on your mindset is recognizing the thoughts that are going on all day, every day on autopilot, and being able to take control of them
Mm.
so that when those negative ones start to try and creep in, we can clear them. When that inner chatter starts to creep in, we can clear it. Your mind has one job, and that's to keep you safe. So when you start doing something that's freaking terrifying, like going live, launching something, putting your prices up, even launching a business and being the name and face of the business, your mind will do anything to be like, don't put yourself in this really uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
And that's when it takes you back to that trauma. Any trauma you've had at any point in your life, it will take you back to that memory and say, but do you remember when you were 4 and you wanted to play Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz and you ended up playing the Tin Man? And you were
Yeah.
devastated. That's what happens when you try and claim something. And it will just take you back to these memories to keep you safe. But what we need to recognize is that just because you're doing something scary or uncomfortable doesn't mean it's unsafe.
Mm.
It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having that mindset is being able to deal with that. And I think a common kind of misconception about mindset as well is that people think that it's just having a positive mindset. It's not. It
No.
genuinely is taking control of the mind and having the inner strength and resilience to get through whatever life throws at you, anything at all, because not every day will be hunky-dory, unfortunately.
No.
But it just helps you go through things differently and prioritize yourself and handle things in just a much better way. Honestly, if I could just like cast a spell over the entire universe, it would be that everybody had a shit hot mindset.
Yeah, just like having that. No, I can't agree more. I was just thinking, like, literally you described my brain. Like, literally would be, I'm bubbly and confident, but until I started working on it, I had just that internal negative voice all the time. And actually still I have to work on it a lot every single day. And I always find writing in the morning, I've got my little toolkit that I work on, because I definitely would not be able to work. I wouldn't be able to run the businesses as well as I do without doing that, because it takes such an enormous amount of energy to show up all the time for yourself. And I always say this, like, if you run your own business and you don't show up for yourself, you're not going to get paid. But before, when I was, salary, I could turn up bit shit really and it'd be fine, because I would sort of do the bare minimum and still get paid, but you just can't do that in it when you're showing up for, and especially coaching. I don't know about you, but I can't. I've just had an amazing call with one of my clients, and just if my mindset's not in the right place, then I cannot support her effectively to what she deserves. I just can't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I've been doing like mindset work and morning routine consistently since October 2018. And now I love it. But I literally have people saying to me, well, why do you have to keep doing it if it's so good? But it literally is like new level, new devil. The more clients I'm supporting, the more I'm putting myself out there, the more I'm growing in various areas. Like, there are going to be new challenges. And it just keeps my mindset in such a good place. Plus, it really helps me focus on my why, my mission, my purpose, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And what I love most about my morning routine is it just helps me really connect to my clients, to the women in my network. And it just keeps me so laser focused. And, it's so good to do it in the morning, because that's when your mind is in this theta state where it's just absorbing, and it's in that place where it can be completely sort of remolded and rewired. So if you can't commit to a morning routine in the morning because you've got family or whatever going on, just start to be really mindful of your thoughts in that first hour. Just make sure that you are finding things to be grateful for. Your hot cup of tea or coffee, really simple things, waking up in a lovely home or just waking up in a home.
Yeah.
And just focusing on your things to be grateful for, and just start thinking about what you actually want to achieve that day or what you're working towards in the bigger picture. And it will make such a massive difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will never stop doing mindset work and never stop working on my morning routine.
It's daily work. We were saying about grateful. When I'm doing that, I'm like, I'm grateful I have hair. I'm grateful I have a brush to brush my hair. I'm grateful I've got water to wash my hair. Like, it's all about the fact that, I've got hair, because I'm just saying, it's the start of the basics, but it's just true. It's like, I'm really grateful I've just been able to get out of bed on my own without any assistance. Little things like that. But you cannot feel like negative and overrun by negative thoughts when you're sitting there being grateful for everything. I really I've just had like a thought just buzz into my head of people that might be listening to this thinking, well, it's all right for you lot, and it wasn't. And that's the thing that, this is why I wanted to have you on, because it wasn't all right for us. That's why we did the work. It's not something that you just wake up and you're like, oh, I've got a great mindset. It takes work. It takes feeling uncomfortable, but on the other side of it, it's so worth it. And because it's hard work and because it can make you feel uncomfortable, challenging yourself and putting yourself out there and looking after yourself in the mornings, getting up that little bit earlier. Because when I first started doing it, I had to get up at 5 every morning to make sure I fitted it in. And that does make you feel uncomfortable. And that's why people go, oh, it's all right for you, isn't it? Because they don't want to make those changes first.
Yeah. So I was interviewed on the BBC last summer, I think, and maybe it was summer before, talking about like positivity in lockdown. And it was live streamed out onto Facebook. And the amount of people that were like, well, it's all right for her, living in a farmhouse, swanning around with her horse. And I'm like, but I've got to this point, but I've come on such a journey and nobody sees that. So since starting doing mindset work, I'd say July 2019 was rock bottom. So I'd had my first 10K month and then everything went crashing down again. And I was literally at like a couple of grand a month, ridiculous amount of invoices coming in. Again, rock bottom. March 2020, lost clients every single day for a week when lockdown number one happened. So I got two companies, got a PR and marketing company and a coaching company. And the PR and marketing company lost clients every single day that week. So my morning routine was literally like, I'm grateful that I've got time that I wasn't meant to have this week. So I was meant to be speaking to these clients and I don't now have those client calls. And it was so hot and sunny. And I just remember going for a really nice walk in the next door village. And I walked down to this little river and I was just sat like next to this beautiful little river in this gorgeous forest. It was down in the valley. I had no signal. And I was just sat there like, okay, if I hadn't lost these clients, I wouldn't be here right now, just basking in the sunshine. And, you know, it's having that mindset to get through those things. Like October, November, December 2021 were freaking tough in business as well for me. But the mindset got me through it. I promise you it did. So it's great to say, you know, it's fine, I've kind of grown the business now, but it's there for those times when things do get tricky, when things do get wrong. But it does take that work. And I promise anybody listening, just doing a few gratitudes each day, it sounds like, how on earth is that going to change anything? But when you start to focus on things to be grateful for, your mind naturally and subconsciously starts to find more things to be grateful for. So you start to focus on better things and you start to bring in better things. And it's such a simple thing. It doesn't have to take a load of time, but it just starts to shift your view of the world. And that's phenomenal.
So I shared in a couple of Facebook groups the other day that I found an old journal and we wrote about our ideal day. And I literally wrote, you know, I wake up in my own farmhouse with my husband. I start work at 10. Maybe I have a morning swim. I work from 10 till 4. I work with like dreamy clients. Then we go for like a nice dinner and wrote about like turnover, wrote about garden office, wrote about fast car. And literally I wrote it as a 5-year plan and everything has come true. I had no idea what the swim in the morning was about. I'm like, I'm not going to own a swimming pool. And then I realized I've got a hot tub that I bought a year ago. And I'm like, well, that's my morning swim. I do one whole length. That was something I wrote 5 years ago that has come true in 3.
Yeah.
You know, when you just dream a little bit and just think, you know, if you could write anything out, if you could just write an ideal day, if you could write imagine it's 2024 and I'm just living my best life and I'm doing this and I'm working with these people, what would you actually write about? If you were writing a movie and you were playing the lead character, how would you want that movie to look? And it sounds really, I don't know, dreamboaty or just a bit like I've lost the plot, but we don't do that often enough. Like when you're younger, you've got like this dream of who you want to be when you grow up and the Prince Charming you want to marry and all of these things. And then we lose that ability to dream. And just writing it down, just thinking, okay, by December 2022, what do I want to do? By next year, what do I want to do? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? And just write it out, dream on it. It's so powerful.
It's not like there's no harm in doing it. Like, but you know, it is, I suppose it takes time out of your, you know, your day or whatever, but it's not like an arduous task to do a bit of dreaming. But like you say, it's just not, you just don't have that in our lives as, I suppose, grown-ups when, you know, the rat race grabs hold of you, just to sit and just write a story. Because basically when we were kids, that's what you'd do at school. You'd write a story, but it just doesn't happen anymore.
No. And I think a lot of people then get into the how. Well, how is it going to happen? What are the steps? You know, how am I going to do this? How am I going to hit this goal? How am I going to live in this house? But the subconscious mind, you know, which is the part that's going to create your entire life, doesn't give a crap about that. All it cares about are pictures and feelings. So if you can write that out and you've got this little picture in your mind of how that would look or feel or be, or what the kitchen would look like, and you can feel it for a second, your subconscious mind will go away and try and think of ways to bring it into your life. But, you know, so many people get so hung up on the how. And one of the things that I love about kind of goals and manifestation is you don't need to know the how. You've just got to allow.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, writing that out, getting clear on it, just thinking, imagine if, you know, wouldn't it be nice if this happened? And just almost forgetting about it, putting that journal somewhere safe and you go about your day. but your subconscious mind is like, oh, this is what she wanted. And it will then start to think about things. And your mind's got this amazing thing called the reticular activating system. It's like a filtering system, and it will find things in line with what you've just written down. That's why when people suddenly want to go to a certain place or have a certain car, you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
How is this car so popular? It's simply that, because you've thought about what you want and your mind is trying to bring it to you and help you get it. So amazing.
So in your Facebook group, you've got a challenge this week, haven't you?
Starting
today. We're not recording this on Thursday, but it's starting today.
Yeah. So I think there are 3 mega important things that every business owner, no matter whether they are just at the idea stage, just starting to think about what they want to do, or whether they've been in business for a number of years and are wanting to scale, I think there's 3 mega important things: mindset, money making, and money mindset, and marketing. And I'm running a completely free coaching extravaganza. It's called the M3 because it's the 3 M's. And it's completely free, and it's high vibe, high energy, so many nuggets, so many stories, so much value. And I promise you that free event alone will change people's lives. And I haven't done a free 3-day event like this for a year. And the last one honestly changed lives, changed people's mission. It changed their trajectory. I can never say that word. Trajectory. Changed so many things, and that's what lights me up. That's what drives me on. So yeah, I'd love to invite your lovely listeners, if anybody would love to come and join, completely free. 3 days, everything's recorded. The replays go in the group after. There's little homework pieces, and a chance to network and promote themselves and their businesses should they desire.
Oh, amazing. We'll put the links in the show notes because I love that kind of thing. It's amazing. So I ask everybody who comes on the same question: if you could tell yourself something 10 years ago that you know now that you wish you'd known then, what would it be?
Dream bigger, and that anything is possible.
Ooh.
So my mum always told me anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Before I did mindset work, I had no idea what that meant. But yeah, literally anything is possible if you can just believe that you can have it. And then the bits will follow, the steps will happen. But it's just having that belief that anything is possible. Dream big. It takes no more energy to dream big than it does to dream small.
No, it doesn't. Same as it takes the same amount of energy to be a warrior compared to a warrior.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, that's my Claire Hill transform from warrior to warrior. Oh. Warrior energy, yeah. What are you going to choose?
Always I know. I'm all about the warrior energy.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Tara, for chatting to me today. It's been amazing. My face is actually hurting a little bit from smiling, and that's the same as like when I did that training. I came away like massaging my face because it was hurting. So yeah, you're very inspirational. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I could talk to you about this all day, but yeah, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me.
And where can people find you before you go?
So I'm Tara Punter Coaching on website and Facebook and Instagram. And my podcast is Tara Talks.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. I'll put the links all in the show notes. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother Phil Vidler.